What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another Dragonflight video. Hope you're all doing really well. I want to talk about the Mistweaver changes that came through on the reset yesterday, and I did a dungeon with them. I just want to explain kind of how they feel and how Mistweaver feels in Mythic Plus now in particular. I'm not going to talk about raid as much, but let's look at the changes that came through. First of all, some buffs for Mistweaver if you missed them. So here we go. Ancient Teachings now transfers 150% of the damage done. I talked about this in another video, but in the patch previous to this one, this got nerfed to 135% because Mistweaver got a 10% damage buff. Ancient Teachings heals by doing damage, so they thought they would nerf the healing because they're buffing the damage and it's going to like even out. And now they're reverting the healing nerf, so now we get the damage buff and we're getting the healing back to where it was before. So Ancient Teachings healing is really good now. much better. It's only a 15% buff, but we have also gotten that 10% damage buff from the previous patch, so it's kind of like you're double dipping there. Yolan's Grace, which is the new shield you can get on the class tree, instead of taking a defensive diffuse magic, I think you just get the shield all the time. They buff this by 5%, so instead of 10% of your max health, it goes to 15. Very good. I'll show you what that means. Chi Cocoon's Absorb. I mistakenly in my Mistweaver video thought this was Life Cocoon. It's not Life Cocoon. It's Chi Cocoon. We'll get into that. It's still really good, but it's not Life Cocoon. Enveloping Breath's healing decreased by 12%. These are both from Chi-Ji. Both of them are from your Celestial. They're not from us at all. So two different, one of these are getting nerfed, and then this is getting doubled. It's overall a buff. Let me show you exactly why it's a buff. Right, so look at the talents here. You can see that I've got Chi-Ji here. The shield, first of all, over here, Yolan's Grace. This is giving me a 3% max health, which is really good. That does in place of diffuse magic. The buff here is right here, Celestial Harmony. When you activate your Celestial, Yolan or Chi-Ji, you get Chi Cocoons on 5 targets within 40 yards, giving you a 93k absorb for 10 seconds. That's just based on my current item level. You know, if I can get a little bit more item level under my belt, that would go past 100k easily. So that's what got doubled. So this used to be like a 43,000 damage thing, and I actually have 2 different Vortex Pinnacles here that I've done. So there's one Vortex Pinnacle from before the buffs came in. I'm going to show you that right now. And then I have one after as well. So here's an 18 Vortex Pinnacle. Look at the healing here. We're looking at Yolan's Grace shielding. We're looking at Chi Cocoon from the from Chi-Ji. And again, every minute I can pop Chi-Ji, right? So this here, you can see on the right-hand side over here, the max I ever got was 48,852 for Chi Cocoon. It did 3.4% of my overall healing. My Yolan's Grace did 5% of my overall healing. Okay, so those are the 2 big ones that we're kind of looking at there. Let's look at after the buffs. So again, Chi Cocoon 3.4%, Yolan's Grace 5%. Let's look at after the buffs. Chi Cocoon is now 5.7%, and my Yolan's Grace is 7% of my healing. So this went up by 2%. This also went up by 2%. It's actually massive, and you can see the shields on the right-hand side of the details there. The max I did was 110k shielding. It's literally doubled. So this is a really big deal. In my mind, Yolan's Grace shielding for this much, just passively, is insane. It's really good, and you can see the Ancient Teachings healing is the other one I wanted to look at. Let's go back to the Vortex Pinnacle 18. My Ancient Teachings healings was about 13.3%, and if we go to the 20, it ends up being 15.6%. So it's just buffs across the board. Yes, we did lose, what is it, the 12% here. You can see Enveloping Breath healing decreased by 12%. That's coming out of my Celestial, so that's down here. So this is 2.2%. Let's go back to the Vortex Pinnacle 18. The Enveloping Breath, still, it's not even that much. The key is a little bit lower, so it's going to be different. But the reality is, it's a buff, guys. It's a huge buff overall. This is massive to see. Ancient Teachings is like our primary source of healing, besides Shaylin's Gift. The Yolan's Grace passive shields are insane in my mind. And then the Chi Cocoon coming in, really clutch. I think it's an awesome buff that we're getting right there. Let me just show you some of the footage from the dungeon that I was doing. We'll just make this nice and big. Look how much damage he's taking. Oh, I'm complaining about a hunter. Don't worry about it. Here's a pack. This is, again, let's look at the Ancient Teachings healing that I can do here. The hunter dies right off the bat, which is pretty frustrating, but it is what it is. What the heck? That didn't. Okay. So, I'm just basically spinning, or I'm right now I'm in my Chi-Ji combo. We're already doing 93k, 90k HPS. It's going to go up here. And then our damage is really good. So, one of the best things about Mistweaver is that their damage has always been really strong, and now we're getting back some of the healing that we're doing through damage, which is Ancient Teachings. You can see I'm doing 100k HPS and almost 50k DPS. Their damage is outrageous in Mythic Plus. It's so good. So I'm really glad that they have, like, that niche. Like, Holy Paladin just had their damage nerfed again for no reason. It's really stupid. They're not the top-performing DPSing healers, in my mind, depending on how you're pulling a dungeon. Obviously, the top groups in the world are going to pull differently. But Mistweaver has a ton of damage, and Mistweaver has a ton of healing throughput, which we can see on this boss fight here. They're so good in situations where you need strong throughput healing, consistent HPS going out all the time, like a Resto Druid, like a Holy Priest. Mistweaver is in that same boat. This fight, Alteris, this is a plus 20. This fight requires a ton of HPS. This is not a tyrannical boss fight, of course, so it's a little bit easier, but we're still doing over 100k HPS, and we're going to need to keep doing that for this entire boss fight. And we're able to also do a lot of damage. We're doing almost 30k DPS. So that little niche in my mind for Mistweaver Monk, this is only helping them be that Mythic Plus healer that can pump a ton of damage while also pumping a ton of healing at the same time. A really, really big way you can support your group. And it's just all buffs in my mind. One thing, what I'm not really happy about in terms of the changes here that they've given to Mistweaver Monk is that Mistweaver Monk still, we're not going to see a Mistweaver Monk in the top sort of echelons of Mythic Plus. You're just not. You're not going to see them in any sort of God comp anytime soon. Do you know why? Because they don't have damage reduction. They just don't. They don't have any way of just reducing the damage that your allies are taking. For example, this entire dungeon, this freaking hunter was just pissing me off like the whole time. He kept taking crazy amounts of damage. He's just standing in the red zone right now, taking extra ticking damage that he doesn't need to. It felt to me like he wasn't pressing Exhilarate when he needed to. He didn't turtle certain things that I thought he should. So imagine if I just had a damage reduction, just Blessing of Sacrifice, just put it on him. Pain Suppression from a Disc Priest, just put it on him. Then you don't have to worry about it, and he's not dying all the time. It really is a problem that Mistweaver doesn't have any damage reduction at all. Yes, they have amazing damage. Yes, they have amazing healing, but they don't have that all-important damage reduction, which is why I don't think you're going to see them at any point in time in sort of the God comp, which is really, really frustrating. This is an amazing pack. Like, this is a 20 fortified key. This is the hardest pack in the whole dungeon. We lust this pack, and then we just pop right off. We absolutely pop off. We started with Chi-Ji. We get the double slam comes through. We're doing 180 HPS right now, 180k HPS, and we're doing almost 50k DPS. Those numbers are insane. You can pump on Mistweaver. You can absolutely pump, but you are missing kind of that all-important DR. And I think that that is, like, goes without saying. In the higher keys, when you're getting to a plus 23, a plus 24 right now, some of the guys are doing, like, plus 28s and plus 30s, right? They have Holy Paladins. They have Disc Priests up there. Why? Because they have damage reduction. And you'll just get one shot by some of these abilities if you're not timing your damage reduction perfectly. So the throughput from Mistweaver Monk is exceptional, but they're still not going to be brought to keys because they don't have damage reduction. And I don't know why Blizzard's just buffing the wrong things. I'm happy for the buffs that we're getting. I'm really happy for the buffs that Mistweaver has right now. Look at the freaking damage and healing that we did on this fight. But the problem is always going to be that we're missing some of those vital tools that I think are going to really push all healers into the upper echelon. I think every single healer should be given a damage reduction that they can give to the rest of their team in some way. It just doesn't make sense that we don't have that. It's really, really stupid that we don't have that. But here's my overall numbers on a plus 20 Vortex Pinnacle Fortified. Almost 40k DPS and 80k HPS overall. You can see Ancient Teachings right up at the top there now because of the buff. Shaylin's Gift still really good. My Yu'lon's Grace and my Chi Cocoon basically went up by like 30-40% of what they were before, which is really, really incredible to see. So Mistweaver is in a great spot, guys. If you want to play it, please play it. You can certainly time plus 21s, probably plus 22s up to that area. Once you get to like the plus 23 area, I think it's going to start to get really iffy, and you might need like an Augvoker shielding people, like that kind of stuff, in order to make it work. But we'll have to wait and see. Maybe this buff is good enough to push them into those hierarchies. Let me know what you think in those comments down below. Please, guys, let's start a conversation about this. Let me know what you think about healers in general. Do you think every single healer in the game should be given some sort of a damage reduction or not? Is that kind of stupid? Let me know what you think in those comments down below. Thank you so much again for watching. Love you guys. I will see you in the next one.